What's up, everyone? It's Side Tiger. It's kind of late. I get out of school kind of late. So, anyway, I am loving this fucking Pat pistol. Absolutely loving it. I'll probably put a laser light combo on here, and I'll try to put it down there if possible. And I might opt out for some lighter handguards. These are some Knights Armament Army leftovers that I still have. But they work. Now, I wanted to talk about a few things. Besides me wanting to add the Bulgarian 4-piece eventually and the laser light combo and how much I like my Pat pistol, I figured I'd talk about the Picatinny rails and the Dildo grip, or the vertical foregrip versus the AFG and things like that. Now, I don't know what the hell it is, but every time I have these the little Magpul Allen key on rails, the Picatinny rails. If you don't know what Picatinny rails are, they pretty much look like this. It's a standard way to mount things such as optics and lights and lasers and laser rangefinders even. I've seen even chainsaws and magazines mounted to rifles like AR-15s. But I don't know what it is, but every Allen key type thing to a Troy Industries 1-point sling adapter I had on my AR to the Magpul MOE system, they always wobble off, and this is without going to a training course. So I really am just, I've gotten to the point where I just like standard Picatinny rails if I am going to use Picatinny rails. Now, I believe the Army, in the military, they still use them because they're simple, but I don't think the standard 1913 Picatinny system will ever change. But as far as key mod versus M-lock go, M-lock, from what I understand, M-lock is like a more widespread use thing than the key mod. I thought key mod was badass when it first came out, but from what I understand, shit's going M-lock. But still, in the end, you can't go wrong with Picatinny rails because it's just less shit Allen keyed on. I mean, already these are pretty much Allen keyed on, this Picatinny rail system, but when you mount a system like this and then mount more, it's just more shit that can just wobble loose. So sometimes, things like my experience of, Allen keyed rails wobbling loose makes me wonder how many dudes are really running their fucking rifles. But, I mean, not everyone has time to fucking be operator and all that bullshit, but, that's just my experience and, estimated, educated guess on it. Another thing is, the Dildo grip. Yes, this is kind of old school and it's ridiculous. It's one of those bipod grips. I have a bunch of these from when I was in the military. I prefer the little stubby ones, but this really felt good on this rifle, the black Dildo. But really, you can't put these on the AK pistols or AR pistols because of some gay ass fucking law with the ATF. I bet it's not even a law. It's probably some ATF policy. Who knows? But this was a little bit too heavy for what I want this to be. Now, I could take the weight and it felt great, but I just wanted to lighten it up a little bit. Lighter something is, the more maneuverable it will be. But now these were made for full auto style weapons back in like the Tommy gun days. They're supposed to help bring down like the muzzle. But I've also had Delta guys tell me they were putting these on to actually help retain their weapons when they would go clear houses in Iraq and turn a corner and see some 6'6" big ass Iraqi dude. Then they would try to jerk their M4s away. So that's why I was told that they would run these fucking things. Another good reason to use a vertical foregrip over the AFG is maybe if you were running some night vision and are going to use the the PEC 15 or PEC 2 or whatever PEC 16 shit they have out today. I always try to minimize all the fucking pressure switches, but a lot of vertical foregrips have good built-in slots for the pressure switches to activate lasers and lights and crap. I usually fix my light to where I don't have to run a pressure switch, but for the PEC laser, that's a different story. Now, AFGs, you'll hear guys like James Ager that don't like these, and I didn't like them that much until recently, and I'll tell you why. My underfolder, it just the way the stock collapsed and everything, this was able to fit and have the underfolder stock collapse and still be able to hold the rifle on my M70 AB2. But I moved it to this because of this stupid ATF shit, and it actually feels good. It has a good hand stop, and it's close enough to the middle to where when I get tired I could just use that. I could also hold this bottom piece like in a fist, like a vertical foregrip, and I could also hang my hands like this when I shoot. There is no thumb over bore with AKs, by the way, because you can't see your front sight. But this is probably how I would like to grip this rifle, is like this. So these work pretty good, especially with stupid ATF policies. But if you're with AKs, a lot of times the big ass dildo grip will interfere with your magazine changes with the rock and lock system of the AK. It'll hit on shit like that. So a lot of your classic AKs that had dildos on them, they would be angled kind of like that, I believe. It's good to have a slight angle to a vertical forward grip on an AK. So a lot of times your fucking vertical foregrips on AKs don't work out the way you would like. So this is why things like this come in handy, and this is also the AFG comes in handy when you have a short ass barrel, a hand stop, in case you get too crazy. You don't want, say this didn't have a muzzle device, you don't want your fucking hand out here when you're shooting, because the new cool guy shooting style is fucking holding your support hand way the fuck out. So this can also be used as a kind of a safety measure as well as a reference point to have your hand while you're firing your weapon. I hope that made sense. Anyway, this is Sly Tiger, and thanks for listening. But these are usually better as a reference point, but these work out on some weapon systems better than these. Thanks a bunch.